Welcome to another day of Closed on Mondays, man. It's your guy, Mon Skelton, a billionaire Mon. If you don't know me, now you do. I got a very special guest, man. It's been a minute, and I told you guys I have an interview coming up, and here he is, man. I got my guy, Campbell. I call him Cat. I call him Williams, you know what I'm saying? So we go way back, man. We from the same town, and he would like to share some information with you guys about technology, information technology, IT, and networking, CompTIA, and all that stuff, man. He want to just share with you guys how to get into the field. But first, I would like to get a little backstory of his life, man. Like, I know him as a person, but you guys don't know him for the ones that's watching. Let's get a little backstory of my guy, man.
That's what's up, man. First and foremost, what's going on, man? I appreciate you having me on the podcast. Uh,
Appreciate you
it's been a
being here,
long
man.
time coming, man. So I'm glad we were able to finally make this happen.
Definitely, 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 man. How you been, man?
Man, everything is good, man. Just working hard, making my next move my best move.
Hey, ain't we all, man? Hey, hey, we following you, man, because I remember when I first got into the informational technology, man, IT. I wanted to get a lot of information from you, and you shared a lot of information, man. You came to my house. We had a one-on-one conversation about IT. You gave me pretty much information on both sides when it come to network and security, man. I highly appreciate you for that, man.
Yes, sir, man. That's my personal philosophy, man. Anyone, if I can help you with anything, if I have the knowledge, I don't share I don't correction, I don't keep the knowledge, I share the knowledge.
That part.
You just have to come to me. That's all.
They're right. They're right. And it's crazy, man. It's a small world because I didn't even realize you was in IT until you brought it up. I actually seen it. And I seen, you know what I'm saying? I seen it on, I think I seen it on Facebook or something like that. And I ended up
Mhm.
asking you about it. And then you shared some light on. I said, man, it's crazy. I've been trying to dig into this IT field for a minute, man. So, man, give us a little backstory about what all you went through, your little roadmap, you know what I'm saying? Well, a big roadmap, because you just told me some more information. How you got to this point, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man. So just a little bit about myself. My name is William. Like mine just said, some people call me Cat, some people call me Cat Daddy. But man, I'm from a small town, Thomaston, Georgia. Left this small town. I graduated from high school in 2006. In 2007, I joined the military. I joined the military as a military police. I was just ready to get out of this small town and see the big
That
world. So
ain't we
the
all?
military offered me that change of pace and change of scenery. So I went into the military. I didn't start out in the IT world. I wanted to be a cop. I always wanted to be a cop or in law enforcement. So I uh, I joined up as a military police. Had a great career. Deployed to Afghanistan quite a few times. Um, and that's where the military taught me a lot too, right? And we'll go into that a little bit later. But one of the biggest things that the military taught me was being persistent and goal setting. And we'll
Mm,
circle back to those two things a little bit later on, and you'll see how it helped me not only get into IT but get to this point now. Goal setting and being persistent. So my last deployment with the Army, I was in Afghanistan. Um, I met a bunch of contractors. If you got For those of y'all that don't know, you have the military. These are the people that's actually in the uniform, and then you
mm,
have civilians that can be civilian government workers or contractors that support the military. So I'm over there in the military making, $1,800 a paycheck, most money I ever made, up until that time. So I was over there and I started networking, talking to these contractors. And these guys were 23, 24, 25 years old, the same age I was at that time, making six figures. I'm talking about
wow.
115, 130, 150. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, how did y'all guys do this? Were your parents in the military and they were colonel generals? Most of the guys were like, no, the only thing I had to do was apply. So that got the wheels going
Right.
about there's something other than the military. Uh, so one of my mentors, he's still my mentor, Will Brown. He was working in IT. Remember, I was in the military. I was a military police. I knew how to turn on a computer. I knew how to write reports, but I didn't really know computers. And he was telling me, he was like, "Hey, listen, when you get out of the military, you're going to want a career that you don't have to worry about getting shot in. No matter where you move in the states, or if you want to go back overseas, you want a career that can pay you good money, but not only good money, you want a career that you can always learn and grow and prosper in. And
Right.
that's when he told me about IT. At the time, I didn't realize he was in cybersecurity, but he planted that seed. So while I was overseas, in the military, I decided I made a 5 year goal that when I got out, based on what I had learned from him in IT and based on self studying, I made a goal that within 5 years, I was going to be a network engineer. I was going to uh, make good money, and I was going to know the world I was talking about when I was talking about it. So that's really my introduction to the IT world,
I
Mon.
appreciate that, man. Let me get to it. So how hard was it to, you set your goal and all that stuff, that first initial, I want to say the first initial certification. How hard was it to get started? How hard was it for you to even pass the test? How much time did you put in it? Give us a little backstory on that.
Yeah, man. So those are some great questions, man. So the field that I'm in networking, and I want y'all guys to visualize this for a second. Look at IT, the term information technology. Look at that as the umbrella. And under that umbrella, you have different sectors of
Right.
IT. So you have security, which mine is in. You have networking, which essentially is making two routers talk. And you have something called cloud. We can get into that a little bit later. So um, what I wanted to do was pick one of those sectors that really that fit my personality.
Mm,
Uh, I'm very extroverted. I like talking to people. Um, I just like being out and about. So with that being said, I thought that the best career for me, sector for me would be networking. Um, so I looked at it. I looked at different resources online, and I came up on this website called CompTIA. CompTIA is a company that they're really called they're a vendor neutral company that provide IT training. So
okay.
how I came up with it, essentially what I did was I said I want to be a network engineer, right? What certs do I need to get to become a network engineer? Network Plus and CCNA, CCNA, which stands for
CCNA.
Cisco Certified Networking Associate. So once I narrowed down what certs I need to get, I got my Network Plus first with CompTIA, and then I got my CCNA. That's essentially how I decided what cert I need to get.
Okay. That's dope,
Mm.
man. So I'm asking this, and this for me, for all the others that's listening. Did you take it? Did it take multiple test tries to pass it? Did you pass it on the first test? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people just want to know, especially me. I know it ain't a rushing process. You gotta study this stuff. You gotta know this stuff. Even if you pass it, you still want to know what you're doing. So how was that experience for you?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, Mon. And that's a question that I get asked quite a bit. I had to train my mind to be techie. I never built a
Dang.
computer before. I wasn't super technical. So I really had to study, right?
Mm.
Um, my first test that I took, which was A+, uh, I failed it twice. I failed that test twice.
Appreciate you
And for
being
those of y'all
transparent,
out
man.
there that have taken it,
You
go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I said, appreciate you being transparent because that's what we need, bro. Like you felt it the first time, you feel like it's over with. Oh, I gotta try
That's
something.
right.
This ain't it. You know what I'm saying? But it woke you up though. Go ahead. Keep
I,
going, man.
no, no, you fine. So I felt like a failure. I was like, man, maybe this IT thing ain't for me. And here go the crazy thing about it, man. A+ is the introductory to IT. This is
Mm.
like ground level stuff. And I failed it the first time. So I was like, well, maybe I didn't study that good. Let me change my study habits. I went back in 2 weeks later, took it, failed it again.
Oh man.
So, it's remember I said earlier in the conversation, persistence and goal setting, right? I
Right.
knew I wanted to do this. So I made a goal. I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. and it wasn't really all of me too. So if you fail a CompTIA test twice within a certain period of time, you have to wait 30 days before you take it again. So
Right.
I want to act like I was just this wise guru and said, "Well, I'm gonna take a step back." No, I couldn't take it for another 30 days. So during those 30 days, I really studied. I started out doing it 30 minutes a day,
Mm,
Monday through Friday. I said, "Don't matter what happened, I can find 30 minutes to study for this test." So that's what I did. I studied for 30 minutes, Monday through Friday. Here go the kicker. Some of them days, it ended up being an hour and a half, but
mm.
I just committed to 30 minutes. And
At
lo and
least
behold, I
30
came back
minutes.
on that 32nd day. Not only did I pass it, I smashed it. So that was
Man,
the one of the first certs I took, and that's how persist in order to get that certification. So
that's crazy, man. You didn't even tell me this stuff. See, that was very encouraging, man. So I
oh
got
yeah,
another question for you, man. So starting out, like after you got your test, I mean, after you got your certification and stuff, what was that first job like, man? How was you able to connect the dots with that? Did you work right away? Did you work on more certs? What was your and what year was this? You know, it's kind of different now. It's being broadcast right about now, but back then it wasn't that popular. You know what I'm saying? To me, because I
oh
ain't
yeah,
even
for
known that
sure.
body. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, so
talk about
that's
that.
a great question. So I was working. I was working full time. I was working in Nevada at the time as a
Mm-hmm.
it was an instrumentation engineer. I was working for the Navy Top Gun program. So I was still being employed. My skill set allowed
Mm-hmm.
me an opportunity to still work, not in that field per se, but to be able to have a decent paying job.
Right.
Uh, so once I got that first cert, I just well, actually, let me go backwards. So I was working in a career before I actually took these certs.
Mm-hmm. And
Before
what
I
year
took
was
the
that?
first cert, yeah. So I was actually working. I just had good people around me, people that already was in this field. I was working in the engineering shop. They were working in the IT shop. I used to go over there and tell these guys, "Hey man, I got to get this certification. Any
Mm,
advice? Any study material? What can you tell me to keep me motivated?" Because like with anything, when you first start, it's an uphill battle.
right.
You know, you're dealing with self doubt. You're dealing with trying to make time for it. You really have to revamp your mind in order to
Mm,
achieve what you want to achieve. So yes, I was working, and just so I was working. So just so happened, and here go the crazy part about it too. And y'all guys gonna like to hear this. So you don't have to be an expert in IT to get a job in the IT field. I
mm,
repeat, you do not have to be an expert. You don't even have to have certification to get an IT job. And you definitely don't need a degree. Does a degree help? Yes, it does. Does certifications help? Yes, it does. But there's a lot of companies, if you have worked in and around a certain technology for a while, you can parlay that experience into at least getting a job in the IT world.
mm.
And these companies will take a chance on you. They'll take a chance on you, and they'll say, "Hey, listen, we're gonna give you an opportunity." That's exactly how this company did. So I was working for a company. Uh, I had been doing it for 2 years. I was, I didn't have a certification, but it was an IT job. I told them straight up. I was honest with them. I said, "Hey, I know about this stuff, but I don't have the certification to back it up." They said, "Okay, we're gonna give you an opportunity, but when you get here, you're going to have
Mm.
90 days in order to get this certification." So that's why I got that A plus. I had to get it, so it was a motivating factor.
Oh, it was a
So
push.
it definitely was the push. So that's how I got my first official IT job. Was I just applied for it. I parlayed all my skills that I already had, and I pushed it to the limit once I got there. So
What year was this?
this was in 2019. This was in
Oh, damn,
2019.
just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Dang, amazing, amazing. So, do you
Mhm.
feel like you saying now? I want to say something when you were saying this. You said you don't need a cert to get a IT position. You just need to be in position to get the IT position correctly.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So,
main
mhm.
main thing like to have that. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Stop.
Precisely. That's
All
how it
right.
works.
Right, right.
Mm.
So do you think
You know, let me expand a little bit on that. I think this would be a good time. So,
go ahead.
uh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because you
This
got
would be a good.
more information. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So let me break it down to you. So again, you don't need a college degree. In
Right.
fact, in some ways, a college degree can hurt you in the IT
Mm,
field. And what I mean by that is, what if you got a degree in drama?
mm,
How can you parlay that? So uh, it definitely does help, but a lot of in this IT world, certifications is key. And you probably
right.
ask yourself, what are these certifications? How do you obtain them? So just to go back into the earlier part of the conversation, I mentioned you got companies out there, right? That they make a product. Sorry about that, guys. They make a product and they offer training for their product. So, for example, I'm a network engineer. In the networking field, um, you have something called routers and switches. Well, a company out there called Cisco make these routers and switches. So it
Mm,
only makes sense for them to provide training for routers
no,
and
it's the switches.
switches. So with that being said, you if you want to be a network engineer, you apply for a job. They'll send a job description. Hey, we need for you to have background in Cisco routing and switching. Well, you already got that certification. You're pretty much a shoe in for that position because you actually got that cert. But there are other organizations. For example, I keep saying this: if you're going to get in the IT world, remember this company. It's called CompTIA. CompTIA is a vendor neutral training company. Vendor is the company that makes the product, right?
Right.
Uh, but they're neutral. So if you take one of their certifications, you can use that for any job in the field that you choose to work in. So let's break it down. CompTIA, they have a lot of certifications you can get, but the big three that you're gonna always hear about in the IT world is A plus, Network plus, Security plus. A plus, Network, Security plus.
Mm,
What does A plus teach? A plus is just the basic computer. It's actually two tests. You have hardware and then software. Hardware
mm,
is exactly what it means. It means what type of memory. How do you identify memory? The motherboard. Uh, if if you want to repair your computer screen, that kind of thing is covered under that. On the flip side, you have the software. What makes that screen run? What makes your motherboard
right.
run? And if y'all don't know some of these terms, it's okay. Uh, this is why you want to get into this field. You'll learn
You
it. This is
feel
why
me?
this test is important. Uh, and then not only that, you have an operating system. So you have hardware, software. Hardware is the bolts, the screen, and all that good stuff. And then the software, how does it all tie together? So that's A plus. The next thing, which is my wheelhouse, is Network Plus. Network is you have a computer over here, you have a computer over there. How do I make these two computers talk? Using a network,
Right.
creating a network, right? And then
Right.
last but not least, once you understand your hardware, your software, how to make your computers communicate and talk, now you have to secure this communication.
Right.
Security plus, that's where that comes into play. So just remember that CompTIA, right? A plus network
Uh-huh.
plus security plus. And if I could tell you to start anywhere, start with getting your A plus first. And then once you get your A plus, you can decide if I want to go through the networking path, learning how to configure the routers and switches to make them communicate, or do I'm more of a defensive guy. I want our girl and I want to secure this communication. So
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Do you think it's wise to have multiple certs? I know you said before you probably only need one or two. I'm guessing Security Plus and A Plus or Security Plus and Network. How does that work? I don't
great
know if you
question.
put them together like that or I'm thinking A Plus and Security Plus. I don't really know. It should you have networking or if not all three? What are your input on that?
Man, that's really a great question, man. That's top notch right there. Once you get your A plus, now let me preface it by saying this: you don't have to get your A plus first. You can go and get your security plus.
I'm
It's
glad
just
you
based
said
on
that.
what job you want to get, right?
Right.
So I work for the Department of Defense. Uh, I have a job as a contractor for the Department of Defense. If you're touching DoD networks, you have to have a security plus. So if a company take a chance on you in the DoD space or the government space, and you don't have any certification, but they say you got 90 days or 6 months to get it, forget A plus, forget network plus, get your security plus.
Right.
But to go back to your question, your original question, you can definitely stack them. The more certs you have, the better. In fact, as your career progresses, which it will, you're going to top out with your knowledge. Key example: a couple jobs ago, or in fact, yeah, a couple jobs ago, I got a pretty high networking certification. And I got this job and I was like, I'm confident, I feel good. But then all of a sudden they started talking about terms I never heard of before. And I'm like, hold up, I got this cert. I know what I'm talking about. I have done this job in the past. What are these new terms? Come to find out it was a more advanced networking
Mm.
certification that I need to get. So your boy Cat Dad or your boy Will, I start digging in them books. And before you
Oh
know
yeah.
it, boom, I had another certification. But you will run into that. You have your A plus. Oh man, you got a good job, you're good to go. Then all of a sudden you run into this issue, right? And you like, I don't know what. Boom, it's time for you to start taking another cert. So
Mm.
if I was suggesting anyone or telling anyone, if you got time, you're new to the field, you already have a 9 to 5 job, take your time and get the A plus.
Right.
Foundational knowledge. You need your foundational knowledge. That's what it provides. And then from your A plus, you should know everything that you need to know in order to get to decide if you want to go, do network plus or you just want to go to security plus. So,
Right. So I don't know if you remember this. A while ago, I mentioned I went through a cohort where I was taking, I think it's the ITF,
mhm,
IT fundamentals. It's pretty much a basic certification. I passed it on the first try. I rarely study for it because I didn't really think I needed it. I actually signed up for this cohort to do a security plus, which I'm in it right now. We just started this week for the CompTIA Security Plus. I was going to study on my own. I actually did study on my own. I was going to take the test on my own, but this cohort, they're going to cover the study materials, which is like lectures and stuff, and they're going to cover the test. So why not? Why not get a free cert if I can? So I'm going through
that's right.
that
Pick them
cohort
up.
right now.
Mhm.
IT fundamentals. What do you think about that? Like I know I think you told me it was too basic or something. But it was, it was needed. It woke me up. I didn't pass it with flying colors now, but I rarely
Right.
studied because I really thought it was like I don't think I need this, but I went through it. Was like I think 5 days. I passed it in like 5 days. The cohort was 5 weeks, but honestly, 5 days of studying. We only met once a week, 5 days. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah. So what do you think about the IT fundamentals, man? Give a little input on that.
IT fundamentals. So
Do
that's
you think it's needed? Like, or do you think A plus would be like the groundbreaking?
the short answer would be there's a need for it. But do you need it per
That's up
se?
to that person.
No. It's really up to the individual.
Right,
So if you coming straight in off the street, right, and you got time, a lot of times people get certifications, they're under the clock. They're
right,
under the clock, meaning that they need to get it going ASAP. But
mm,
if you are like, and first of all, congratulations, you did pass it, right?
right, right.
Hey man, that's major. 5 days of studying, bro, that's major. 5 weeks or 5 days,
It was
whatever.
5 days, but once a week, five weeks. I never looked at the study material. My first time really seeing the information was honestly during the lectures and on the test. That was it. That
So
was
you
it.
just answer, you kind of just answer the question. Think about it. You only looked at it briefly, right, throughout the five
Right.
weeks, and it was challenging, but you passed it.
Right.
It's all based on, I really hate to say your, but your awareness of the technology, right? It's
Right.
your awareness. If you're 16 years old and you grew up around computers and Facebook and all of this technology, you don't need to take it. But if you're
Right.
more like me, or I'm
Mm.
36, but if you're more like 40 or 50 and you got a little bit of time, man, go ahead and take the IT fundamental,
If you're
because
not technical
it gonna
savvy, gotcha.
speak it in words that make sense to you. Whereas A plus, you could jump right into A plus, but it is a little bit more technical words. It's a lot
Mm.
more to deal with, mentally and all that good stuff. So I would say it's all up to that person.
All right,
Yeah.
man. The last question I got for you, I'm gonna make it good for you. Uh, make the connections for me, for the people out there, when it comes to military and the IT. So, do you think the military was a big help when it came to your first job? I want to say, or even just getting into the IT field in general. A lot of folks thinking about, like, even me. I thought about it. Let me mention that to myself. I thought about joining the military just to make the connection for IT. I know it'll be a straighter line. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
know you said you might not need certs, you might not need your degrees to get these jobs, but these jobs are hard, man. They hard. They being hard. They're asking for a lot of experience. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different now. So shine some light on that. Do you think that connection from the military was like a great connection for you?
My hands down. I'm a little bit biased, because I love the military.
Right,
Kind of
right. So
sometimes
it
wish
was
I was
kind of
still
hard for
there.
me to ask you that. So I like that
But
he already in it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but it did. It did. Me joining the military, in terms of just paying for the certifications, right?
mm,
Being in the military, working for the government in general. Uh, a lot of these companies, a lot of civilian companies too out there, but mostly any company that's associated with the military in some capacity, they prioritize training. And when they prioritize training, they pay for your training. These certifications, I won't lie to you, they can get pricey. I think
mm,
the last time I looked, don't quote me on this, go do the research for yourself. If you go to CompTIA and those three certs I told you about, each cert, just the voucher for the certification, is about 300, is no more than 400, but it's about 325 to 350. But
right,
don't quote, but it's somewhere in that range. By me having that connection, like you said, working for the government, working for companies that's associated with the government, it definitely helped. I can't sit here and lie. But that shouldn't stop you, because there
right.
are a lot of people that haven't even thought about the military, haven't thought about working for the government, and they working in IT, making north of mid six figures to high six figures.
Right.
Uh, so uh, it does help. It doesn't hurt at all. But when you think about these certifications and everything, there are groups, there are like workforce development. Right now, there's a big push, especially these smaller towns and these southern towns where technology is kind of like wasn't a big deal, but now starting to be.
Right.
There's companies out there right now, or government agencies, that will help you get your certification. And not only help you
Mm.
get your certification, but help you write resume writing, interview preparation, hands-on training to help you get your first IT job. So yeah, don't let that be a barrier to you. I know you're not mine. You're gonna be successful because I've
Definitely,
seen you in
man.
action. But for other ones that
Appreciate it.
maybe need a little bit of push, there are resources to help you get into it.
All right, man. I'm gonna shine a light on you one more time for the last time. Man, what do
Sure.
you want to leave the people with? Like, as far as like information, you done dropped a lot of gems, especially like new gems for me too. So give the people like some information, how they can get in contact with you, or just drop some old gems on them, like something that you didn't say that I didn't ask. You know what I'm saying? So drop the people one more time
Yeah,
for me.
man. There are so much. So first things first, y'all. Y'all can always contact me by email at wr.campbell.ga at gmail.com. And I'm pretty sure mine to drop the link
Definitely.
in here somewhere. If he doesn't, I'll always put it on when I share this. I put it on the link as well. But you can always reach me, man. This is my passion. This is what I'm good at. I'm good at my job, obviously, but I'm also good at demystifying stuff in general, especially IT. Uh, One thing that I want to say, IT don't care what your race is.
Mm,
IT does not care what your background is in terms. And when I say background, I mean background, like your background. IT doesn't. Do you know what you say you know? The willingness to learn, showing
mm,
up on time in the right
mm.
uniform with the right attitude will open up so many doors for you in the IT world. And
Believe
also
it.
the networker. If you know somebody that's in IT, start talking to them. You know, hey, they don't have to be me. You might can't get in contact with me. You might don't want to talk to me. But we all know